Good evening, Marshall Reddick investors, and thank you guys so much for joining us tonight for our presentation on the San Antonio, Texas market. I am Kristen Tabar. I am a real estate advisor with Marshall Reddick Real Estate, and I will be your hostess with the mostest tonight, and we'll be joined in just a couple minutes by our San Antonio realtor herself, live from 2 hours in the future to talk all about the market. We're going to showcase some properties tonight, and let's go ahead and dive right in. We'll do a quick sound check. You guys have a question tab that you can just kind of type in. Let me know you can hear me. Make sure we're not having any audio issues here. And throughout the presentation, if anything happens, you guys have questions, can't hear me, can't hear Christina, just kind of type in and let us know. We'll try to answer some questions as we go along, and if we have time at the end, we will certainly do a little Q&A session there as well. A little bit about me, as I mentioned, I'm an advisor with Marshall Reddick. I've been here for 3 years, and I actually started as an investor prior to becoming an employee. So I'm happy to tell my clients that I practice what I preach. I own property in the same markets that many of my clients also are purchasing property in, and I have the opportunity and the pleasure of working with the same team. So same agent, same management team, and I get to personally help my clients to obtain their real estate goals in the same way that I've been able to. So very exciting there. A little bit about Marshall Reddick Real Estate, refresher for those of you who are our return clients, and a little bit of info for those of you who are new to us tonight, and welcome. We are really glad to have you on. We are a full service brokerage here in Newport Beach. We work with our clients to buy and sell homes locally, and also with our teams across the nation, all the way to the Bay Area and down to San Diego and California, and then also across Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Indiana, 16 other areas as well. We are a private money lender, so we help our investors who are unable to qualify conventionally because they're purchasing with an IRA or an LLC, and we also give our investors the opportunity to be the lender, and we're a property manager. So we manage properties here in California and in San Antonio and Austin, and I think we've capped or surpassed 200 properties now. Christina, I don't know if you can confirm or deny that number, but we are growing by about 7 to 10 properties per month. So we are really having a strong name in the market, and we're really excited to have opened our San Antonio office recently, and that's growing as well. So building on that, these are the markets that we currently have teams. The red boxes indicate areas where Marshall Reddick has a presence. We have management in San Antonio and in Austin. Christina is a Marshall Reddick agent. So her license is hung with us. She helps run the office in that area. So those of you on tonight, special treat getting to hear from her. And I get asked a lot from my clients how we've landed on these particular areas. So there's a lot of research and there's a lot of studying that goes on behind the scenes. And some of the criteria that we look at, of course, are strong job markets in a diverse economy that has a clear path of growth. We look at high employment rates because that means we see low vacancy rates. We are looking in states primarily that are landlord friendly. Some of you California investors know that that doesn't apply here, but as you can see, there are 7 other states where we offer investment opportunities that are much more friendly than California. And of course, the team that you work with. So in San Antonio, obviously, we have a great team, dependable, reliable folks that we get the pleasure of calling Marshall Reddick colleagues as well. So real quick before we dive into the market info, we're going to do a quick poll. Some of you thought you would get to fall asleep tonight while you watched the webinar, but surprise, you don't get to. So I'm going to launch this poll question here. The answers are anonymous. I'm only going to post them on the 405 billboard so people can drive by and see. But anyways, let's go ahead. Can you guys see these? I'm here tonight because, okay, now I'm starting to see some replies. See, I think you guys were asleep. Wake up. All right, I'm here tonight because I'm interested in the San Antonio, Texas area for appreciation. I'm interested in cash flow opportunities. My advisor told me to watch tonight's presentation. I already own property in San Antonio and I'm looking for more. Or finally, I have no idea why I am here. You can also check that if you're just here to learn, or if none of the other answers apply to you. So we'll give everybody just a couple more seconds to answer the first poll question, and 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see how we did. All right, 18% of you are looking at the appreciation potential in San Antonio. Good news for you folks. 73% for the cash flow. Good news for you too. We've got some really good inventory that we'll be showing you at the end of, towards the end of the presentation. Nobody's advisors told them to watch tonight, so I may need to sit down and have a conversation with my counterparts because I'm surprised to see 0 there. And 9% of you are looking at possibly adding to your San Antonio portfolio. So I am really excited to hear that nobody said that they have no idea why they joined us tonight. That's an excellent reply. So anyways, let's go ahead and hide that, and we will move right on. As I mentioned, we have our very own Christina Doriot on the webinar tonight. She is our all-star San Antonio agent. She is very diligent. She is on it, you guys. My clients have shared that she's one of the most dependable agents that they've worked with. She's available via email, phone, text, is really good about getting back to people. Communication is really key when it comes to an investment like this. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Christina.
Thanks, Kristen. I'm so happy to be here tonight with everybody. Real estate is my expertise, especially San Antonio market. I've lived in San Antonio all my life, San Antonio native, so I know San Antonio very well. I've been in the real estate market since '99. Started off as a loan officer, was working as a mortgage lender for over 15 years. And then I transitioned into a realtor after being in the real estate industry because I loved the market so well, and I loved working with the realtors and reviewing properties and contracts and helping out my clients. So I am a Marshall Reddick agent. I do help run the office here locally in San Antonio. So we do property management. I help with sales, and then after the sale, after closing, it's a one-stop shop. You know, you're sent to our leasing agent who helps market your property to get it rented out. And then I also introduce you to our property management team. So it's a really great process that we have here in San Antonio as far as the team goes and helping you find property. On a personal note, I'm married to a military Air Force and then a man. And then we have 2 amazing kids. They keep me very busy. And we, again, as I mentioned, we do sales, leasing, and property management, a full service real estate team and property management. So a lot of times you may be dealing with other companies where they do like an agent, a sales agent that helps you find and identify a property. But after closing, you're having to find your own property management outside, like a third party property management team. And they may, you know, so that agent is not really held accountable for selling you that property, because whatever I provide you and show you that's on the website or any properties you find that you ask for my advice on, I'm going to let you know the truth. And, you know, I'm going to let you know that, yeah, we can rent it for this amount, or no, it's not a good buy because of the area, or it won't appreciate. I make sure to keep you in the right areas of San Antonio, because my goal is for you to get the best property possible for your money that's going to appreciate over time, as well as increase, we keep increasing the rent because it's a good area, the good schools, and of course where you're going to get equity and appreciation. So that's what makes our team accountable, because after the closing, it's, still dealing with myself and then my team to help get it leased out, and then of course manage it. We specialize in single family properties as well as multifamily properties. So multifamily being a 2-unit duplex up to a 4-unit duplex. And again, our program is 100% turnkey, one-stop shop, less stress for you. And this is a picture of our map of San Antonio. It's a good visual. San Antonio is a pretty big city. It's been growing so fast in these past 10 years because of the affordability and all the diverse jobs. A very healthy economy we have here with jobs, the job market. So this is a map that shows, San Antonio overall. We have we have several major highways. One of them, there's 2 loops that loop around the whole city. One of them is inside, it loops around downtown, which is called 410. And then so inside that loop 410, you get the older homes, you get the downtown area. I don't really advise to buy properties inside that loop because they're the older homes. You're not going to get as high rent, but then you also have downtown, which downtown is not really a place I advise to buy in, because you're going to either have the expensive penthouse or high-end condos, or the older homes that you're going to have to rehab, and it's going to be hard to rent out. Outside that loop 410 is going to be where you get a lot of your suburbs, where you get a lot of your schools, your good schools, and all of that. So anywhere in the northwest, northeast side, and I'll go over that more detailed, but the closer you get to the Highway 1604, which is the big outer ring of San Antonio that loops around, that's when it gets more expensive and more pricier, because that's where the newer properties are being built, where people tend to buy land and build their custom homes, and you get the really nice schools. But it's a good visual overall map guide. And we do have a big population. If you include all the surrounding areas inside of San Antonio and around San Antonio, our population is getting close to 2.5 million. The city of San Antonio alone is about 1.5 million. But if you include all the suburbs that have like their own police stations and all of that, like Live Oak, Universal City, Windcrest, Converse, Helotes, those are major, Leon Valley, those are suburbs within the city. And if you include all of that, our population's quite massive, like close to 2.5 million. So we're a really big city. And this shows just a little guide about the different parts of the city. So there's different places on the map here where we have like UTSA on the top. That's the University of Texas at San Antonio. That's located in the northwest part of town. That's a very nice area. That's where I like to sell a lot of properties at, because that's a high demand area. A lot of people always ask, well, why don't people want to live downtown? Or, not everybody works downtown. That's just one small area of the city where a lot of people work. A lot of the jobs are going to be in the northwest part of San Antonio, where you have the university, you have a lot of schools, you get a lot of school teachers. We have the medical industry also. We have USAA, which is in the northwest side of town. That's a very big corporation employer in San Antonio. They're military insurance company. They also do banking, investment, and everything like that. They employ over 22,000 employees. A lot of them also work remotely. We have 4 military bases in San Antonio. 2 are on the west side of San Antonio, which is called Lackland Air Force Base and Kelly Air Force Base. We got a lot of government jobs as well as military. Those are really good tenants to have because they pay on time. A lot of them have secure income. And then we also have on the northeast side, which is the other side of the city, the Randolph Brooks Air Force Base and Fort Sam Houston, 2 military bases as well. very popular area that I like to sell in because you get a lot of military tenants that stay about an average of 2 to 3 years, which is good, you know, and they pay on time. And then, of course, we have the Riverwalk downtown, which is beautiful downtown. It's a great, I mean, if you ever get a chance to visit San Antonio, it's definitely nice to see the Riverwalk downtown, as well as the SeaWorld. We have SeaWorld, we have Six Flags, Fiesta Texas, amusement parks. There's always fun stuff to do in the city. So that's just showing you the major attractions and employers. And going on to the next slide. And that's just showing you a visual of the Riverwalk. So that's how it looks like at night with the lights. And there's a lot of places to eat. And it's showing you the Alamo, the USAA emblem, Six Flags. We have our Spurs. I love our San Antonio Spurs, our NBA team, and our mascot for our university, TSA Roadrunners, which we just got a football team about a couple years ago. So we're super excited about that. And we'll go on to the next slide. And this also gives you an idea of the population, how fast the city has been growing over the year, like the past 18 years. Back in 2000, it was like 1.14 million. In 2010, it was almost at 1.3 million. We're actually over 1.5 million now in just the city of San Antonio alone. But again, keep in mind, you have all the suburbs that are within the city that have their own police, you know, force and all of that. And when you include all of those surrounding suburbs and cities within the city, it's closer to 2.5 million now. And that gives you an idea of about our unemployment rate. We're actually now closer to 4% unemployment rate in San Antonio, which is really good. Unemployment, or I'm sorry, we're closer to 3.4 unemployment rate. It's probably going to be down below 3% pretty soon, but right now we're at 3.4 unemployment rate. When this slide was taken, we were at 3.8. But we just have so many jobs here. It's just not, we're not dependent off of one job market. Like, we're just not dependent off the military. We're not just dependent off medical. We have diverse. We got everything. We got the medical jobs. We got the military jobs. We got the lot of financial industry jobs. A lot of huge corporations like Wells Fargo has a huge corporate center. And then we have all these, you know, credit unions, local credit unions, tons of restaurant and hospitality business. A lot of our tenants are restaurant managers, hotel managers, or, you know, working in the sales team for the hotels. We get a lot of different jobs, a lot. And then we also have our medium household income is around, it's closer to 50,000 now. You know, for our medium household income, but that's just the medium, but it's very affordable to live here. Our yearly job growth is closer to 2%. 10-year growth project job growth is going out at close to 40%. Now, keep in mind, with San Antonio, our average house that a normal family will get is going to be about $225,000 to $250,000. That's your standard cookie cutter, maybe 1-story, 2-story home that's like 1,800, 2,000 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in a good area that has good schools that you don't have to get, you know, the public schools are good because where the taxes are higher, it goes towards the schools, so it goes to that area, not shared throughout the whole city. So it's the more taxes you pay, the better that area is for that infrastructure, for the roads, for the schools. And the average household income, like with their bills, like the average, you know, mortgage payment is usually around $1,500 a month on average for a mortgage, you know, of a $200,000 mortgage around there. And then with our electric bill and all our bills and our car payment, our total combined bills usually don't go over, on average, $2,500 a month. And on the high end, like $3,000 a month altogether for all our bills. So if someone's making $5,000 a month, they're doing pretty good because they have $2,000 left over spending money, you know? And so, you know, when two people work, they're doing pretty good. You can live a really nice, affordable life here in San Antonio for making $50,000, $75,000 a year. You know, so it's just to show you why people are moving to San Antonio, why investors are buying property, because they know the appreciation is going to be there. We'll go on to the next slide. And that just gives you ideas of the overall like bills, like for the grocery average. San Antonio grocery percentage bill average is less than the nationwide bill average. The healthcare bill, housing bills, utilities, transportation. Most people in San Antonio have cars. We do have a city bus system, but a lot of our, you know, people do drive cars. Not many, unless if you're living downtown. We have some, you know, people that are in south downtown where they're using those electric mopeds everywhere, but not in the suburbs. Not in the suburbs. So everybody in the suburbs mainly has cars or is all Uber. So we really don't use like electric, you know, cable type of buses or anything like that. It's just your normal, regular, we call it a via bus. But that's just to give you a little shot of that. It's just to see what our bills are. And we don't get much rain in San Antonio. Although this past month we have been getting a lot of rain, which is kind of not the norm. But we average about 32 inches of rain per year, which is why San Antonio is a really safe market to invest in. It's not like the East Coast where you have to worry about hurricanes. Even when the Hurricane Harvey hit in Houston, you know, by the time any hurricane comes close to San Antonio, we're so far inland, it just dissipates. We never had a hurricane hit our city. It always just, you know, because we're so far inland, if anything, what it affects us is just the rain. We'll just get the rain out of it. Sometimes we'll get flooding here and there, but it's not as bad as, of course, the Gulf Coast would get. And then we do get a lot of sunny days out of the year, around 220 sunny days per year. So it's nice and hot during the summer. We do get triple digits sometimes in the summer. It can get up to like 108, 110, which is brutal for us. Usually that's an August time frame. But normally we're in the 90s in the summer months. And then the rest of the months, you know, the 80s. We do have a high humidity, but you know, our July average high is like 94, 95 degrees. January high is usually around 62 degrees. This week has been out of the norm. We actually hit like 45 degrees, which is very rare, but we're supposed to go back to the 80s in the next week or two. It's weird. But we do have you know, a very good, that's why a lot of people like to buy homes here, because we don't have the typical hurricanes, or you know, we don't really get hit with too many tornadoes like Oklahoma does. So we have a very good, you know, weather-wise. All right, so on this next slide here, talking about the San Antonio Board of Realtors, we initial it as Sabre Home Sales. It shows you for the past years what the average percentage of the sales were and how they've been increasing each year. The average price of the home is now closer to $250,000, where it started off like at $218,000. Medium price, total sales for last year, 2017, has been increasing. So now we're like closer to 2,000. Last year was 1,683 sales. It just shows you how busy the market's been in San Antonio, and that's why Marshall Reddick decided to get their first office outside of California in San Antonio, because it was one of their busiest markets. Everybody wanted to buy in San Antonio for the affordability and the appreciation, and then of course the cash flow. And then the average sales price of $242,622, which is closer to $250 now. Average money per square footage, 116 per square feet. Average days on the market, 62. We usually don't have houses that sit on the market longer than 2 months. Very rare. So the properties I like to sell are turnkey properties, so very minimal repairs. Repairs are usually going to be $3,000 or less, you know, and then I also negotiate a seller credit for you to help you with at least half of that or most of it after closing, so you can get that. But yeah, that just gives you an idea of the percentage increases with the prices and everything. That shows you our skyline for downtown San Antonio. Shows you down there the population, 2,328,652. It's closer to 2.5 million now. 3-year population growth, 6.5%. Year-over-year job growth, it's actually closer to 2% now. Year-over-year home price growth, 7%. Basically, it's a great market to invest in. Great market. And I can actually find a lot of homes for you under 200,000. Under 200,000. So if you look on our Marshall Reddick website under the San Antonio market, you'll see some nice properties for 180,000, 175, which are perfect if you're looking to start your first year with cash flow. And each year after that, you're going to get more cash flow because we increase the rent. So let's go to the next slide. Full list where to invest in housing in 2018. So this is a Forbes magazine snapshot of the Forbes saying where to invest in housing 2018. San Antonio was rated number 12. That's pretty good. Number 12 on the list for the best cities to invest in. So talking about the 3-year population growth, 2-year job growth, 1-year home price growth, and the 3-year price growth forecast 20%. It's a really healthy market. And this is a property class grid. So this helps you see, the property classes, and on the top of there, it shows the appreciation in San Antonio. And it goes all the way back to 1993. That was like back when I was still in high school. So that's a long time ago. It goes all the way back to 93. The average price of a home, a typical, house, like a regular 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, maybe 1,800, 2,000 square feet in a good area, the average was around 75,000 for our home. And then each year, you see the increase. You see the increase, how it went up. And if now, of course, the average home is like around 250,000. Now, if you look at 2009 and 2010, where it was a mortgage crash, it affected, certain parts of the country really hard, especially California and Florida. It barely made a dent. It barely made a dent with San Antonio prices of homes. So, I like to let all the investors look at that because it's a safe market. So in case that ever happened again, it wouldn't barely affect your value. If anything, anyone that owned a rental property back in 2009 and 2010, we were at a housing shortage for rental homes. Everybody was looking to rent. So there was low inventory, so there was not much competition, so they rented out fast. It was high demand, very high demand still too. And then it shows you the class grid. So on the left is blue, dark blue, it's a luxury. Luxury is going to be like in San Antonio, it's going to be $300,000 on up. Okay, that's considered luxury because if you have a $300,000 or $400,000 house in San Antonio, you're upper middle class, making about $100,000 to $150,000 a year or more, and you're in a really, really neighborhood that's mainly owner occupied. You're not going to have many rentals in that area because in order to rent it out, the rents would have to be over $2,000 a month. And they do get rented out. It just sits longer in the market because you have less pool of people looking in that price range to rent. Majority of people looking to rent, you're going to have the price range of $1,200 up to $1,700. So we see a lot of $1,500s, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600. That's the busiest rental rate, the most people looking. So the Class A properties are going to be closer to the 200, anywhere from, 180, 170 even. I can find some in Class A neighborhoods, but I wouldn't go less than 150. Once you go less than 150, you start getting the C properties. But, a lot of Class A neighborhoods are going to be like an average of $225,000, $200,000 price range where they have amenities like a community pool, playground, picnic area, all that stuff. And then the Class B properties are really good properties too. I can find a lot of Class B properties for like 150, 160, And those neighborhoods aren't bad. They're still good. It's just more affordable. And there's still a lot of good areas with good schools. And then the Class Bs, we usually don't like to recommend too much because you're going to have higher maintenance and higher repairs, cost for repairs. But we do have some seasoned investors that don't mind that. So once you become more seasoned investor and buy multiple properties, then maybe at that time you may be more comfortable and seasoned to get a Class C property because your cash flow will be higher for a Class C versus a Class A where you're not going to have much cash flow in the beginning, but you're going to have a lot higher appreciation over the years. And then the Class B, you're going to get some appreciation. You're going to get some cash flow, maybe $100 to start off with, $200 a month. But then each year we keep increasing the rent each year because it's a good area that I sell in. And then you're still going to get the appreciation, you know. So that's the classes that, you know, that help. We mainly deal with the Class B and the Class A. That's our most popular, Class B and Class A. There's an ebook that you can look on to our Marshall Reddick website. It's under the Learning tab on the top right corner. If you click on it, go into the San Antonio Market ebook. It's constantly updated, up to date with all the current market data for you. If you're into researching the area, looking at all of the data, it's on there for you. It goes to economics all the way to our climate. So it's it goes into detail for all you analytical people.
Just to build on that a little, like Christina said, there's graphs and charts and data that we pull from the National Association of Realtors website. Everything from the economy, who the major employers are, the different, facets of the economy, demographics, what people do for fun. Everything that you could ever want to know is consolidated right there for you on the site. So if you want a little bit more or want some graphs, if you're a visual person and you want to look at those, you can hop on the site and download that for free.
Perfect. Now we're going to hop into my favorite part of the section, which is my hand-picked selected properties, income properties for y'all to review.
And Christina, so you know I've been answering questions as we've been going along, and a lot of people have been asking about how much the properties rent for, what kind of properties we're going to be showcasing. So hope you guys are all paying attention, because here we go. A lot of the questions that you've been asking about the cost of utilities, the amount of rent, things to that nature, we're going to dive in right here and we'll get a lot of those questions answered for you. So we'll jump right into the first property, and Christina, take it away.
Great. Well, it's going to be a duplex. It's a newer duplex. It was built in 2015. So we still consider that fairly new. It's 2-unit, 1-story duplex, 2-car garage for each unit. Each unit is exactly the same floor plan. And then it's got a long driveway for each. So you can fit like 4 cars on each driveway, believe it or not. It's long. And then you can fit 2 cars inside the garage. So it's a nice neighborhood. It's located in New Braunfels, Texas, which is a suburb located outside of San Antonio, about 15 minutes outside of San Antonio. We get a lot of people that work in San Antonio, particularly the northeast side of San Antonio, that want to live in New Braunfels, that live there, and they commute. And it only takes them 15 to 20 minutes, to get to work from New Braunfels, which takes me longer where I'm at in the city of San Antonio to go to the other side of San Antonio. It takes me about 45 minutes to an hour because traffic is so bad. So it just depends on where you live. But anyways, this property, it's already rented on both sides. It's tenant occupied. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in each unit. And it's located really close to a popular shopping center, like literally right behind the shopping center called Creekside Shopping Center in New Braunfels, Texas. It's a newer shopping center. So what it has like a Buc-ee's, which is one of the biggest, nice upscaler type of, convenience stores. and it has nice restaurants. You got Sea Island Shrimp House, you got BJ's restaurant. I mean, there's so many different restaurants there, and then all the different shopping, places to shop at. And then you got higher end apartments that are literally right around the corner from here that have a lot of amenities, but they do rent higher price than these duplexes, so that's good competition to have. And then, so the list price of this duplex is right under $380,000. $379,900 is the list price. If you put 30% down, you're not going to have that much. I don't anticipate that much repair cost initially because it's quite a new duplex. It's not that old. So about $1,800 or less would be your initial repair cost. What that means is after closing, if there's any repairs that weren't done, that the tenant's asking for that needs to be done, our property management team can get right on that for you. And then the rent, this is combined rent. So combined rent is $2,970 combined for both units. So if you divide that in half, you get your monthly rent. But the taxes, after everything's broken down, it breaks down the, everything for you. It shows what your monthly cash flow is after all fixed expenses. So we don't put utilities on there because the tenant is responsible for their own utilities. They have to set up their own water under their name. They set up their own the electricity under their name. They pay their own electric bill. If they don't pay the electric bill on time, it gets turned off, and it's not on you. It's up to the tenant. So the tenant pays that. The tenant pays their water bill. They pay the garbage, all of that. So that's why it's zero. Landscaping, they're responsible for their own, mowing of the yard. Back in the backyard, there's grass. They have private fenced-in backyards, so they're not sharing a yard. The front is all zero scape. So there's really not much to maintain because it's like zero escape. You got all the rock and everything like that, but it's really nice and pretty. It looks very Arizona style. And the monthly management fee is broken down 7% of whatever the rent is. We don't charge the management fee while it's vacant. Keep that in mind. We don't make money until you make money. So if it's vacant, we don't charge you a monthly management fee. And once it's occupied, it's only 7% of the rent. That's it. And then the insurance is broken down, the taxes. After everything's broken down, you get over $540 a month cash flow. And that's not including the appreciation you're going to get over the years. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind, each year, we actually do increase the rent, usually by $50. So, for example, if they're paying $1,500 a month rent right now, right when their lease is going to renew, we let them know, hey, we're going to renew your lease for you, but it's instead of $1,500 a month, it will be $1,550 a month for rent. Most of the tenants end up renewing because it's more expensive for them to move. And when they start shopping around, all the other rents are going up too. So keep that in mind. You're going to get more cash flow each year. That's just your initial cash flow in the first year after closing. It gives you also in green below a 15-year projected profit. So what your actual profit will be over 15 years. If you didn't sell this duplex, in 15 years, you're going to have over $323,000 in equity. That's insane. Like, what stock market can guarantee that for you? Real estate's where it's at, people. It's safer to park your money in real estate. You got that appreciation over the years. And then the 15-year annual rate of interest is over 17%, which is really good percentage rate for ROI. It's really good. So this duplex is located in a great area of New Braunfels. I highly, highly recommend it. It's on the market right now. So, and there's no vacancy to worry about after closing because it's already tenant occupied. We would get the lease agreements to review, all of that under the contingency period under contract. You would have a chance to review all that.
Thanks, Christina. Real quick before we go on to the next slide, I just want to touch on the variable expenses really quickly for those folks who are not familiar with how we arrive at those figures. The estimated maintenance and vacancy is based on the property class. And so since this property is an A-class duplex, A-class is assuming 8% of the monthly rent in maintenance and 8% in vacancy. So these are very conservative numbers. This is assuming that you will have vacancy and maintenance every month, which you will not. We just want to give you a conservative number so that when you do have vacancy, turnover in your property, or any maintenance items that come up, you've been accounting for that. You will also see the stars on the form indicating that numbers have been modified. That's because this property was built in 2015, which is only 3 years ago. And for new construction, we assume 5% maintenance for the first 5 years. So I did adjust that maintenance estimate because of the age of the property. So you'll see those estimated expenses on each property. On a good month, you'll receive the number that's outlined in red. After your fixed expenses, this will be your take home. So the other estimates are to give you an idea of what could happen if you need to repair anything, or if there's any other issues that come up during the life that you own this property. At some point you will have maintenance, and at some point you will need to place a new tenant. So this is just us accounting for those future expenses. So thanks, Christina, for letting me butt in.
Sure.
Let's hop on to the next one.
Of course, yeah. This is a single-family property. It's a nice single-family property located in a Class A neighborhood. Now, I am actually finding some properties in these Class A neighborhoods that are under $200,000. There's not many of them. It's getting harder and harder for me to find, but I am finding them, and I'm putting them on the website. This is a new listing. This property that's located in this Class A neighborhood, it has a community pool. It's got a children's playground, basketball court, a dog park to let their dogs run around. It's really cool. And then picnic areas. So that keeps your tenants staying longer term in these Class A neighborhoods because they get used to the amenities. Their kids get used to it. They start making friends with their neighbors, and their kids start making friends with their neighbors' kids. So it's good to have properties like that, because most of these homes, if you start Googling these neighborhoods, most of the homes are going to be over 200,000, 225,000 or whatever. The reason why I can find some of these is these are going to be the smaller homes, but the smaller homes still rent out quite fast because that's what the people can afford in this price range, and they want to be in the nice neighborhood and the good schools, but maybe they can't afford the bigger house yet. So we get a lot of those families that start off as new families or new couples that are looking to be in these good areas. And this house was built in 2003. It's 1,380 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's a 1-story, 2-car garage. It's got a nice sized driveway. And it's listed right under $180,000, $179,900. If you put down your down payment of 25%, I can rent this out for $1,395. $1,395 a month I can rent this out, which it wouldn't last long on the market at that price. And that's an average rent. So I get a range of like what's the lowest, what's the highest in this comparable, like sort of this neighborhood with this size home, and I go with the middle. Okay, if you want to go higher, you can. If you want to go lower than that to get at least out faster, you can, but I'm always conservative and I use the middle range. The taxes, after everything's broken out, you're going to cash flow over $200 a month, $218 a month. And that's really good. Like most single family homes, to tell you the truth, with most single family homes, a lot of our clients equal out, just wash out even, not even cash flow, just equaling out. And that's because they're looking at the long-term appreciation, and they eventually start cash flowing because we raise the rents every year. So when I bought my first investment property, I wasn't cash flowing at all. I was just equaling out. Now I'm cash flowing over $500 a month after 10 years, you know, so, and the appreciation is way high. So that's, you know, I have over $80,000 in appreciation, and I had to do much but some repairs here and there, and that's going to pay for my kids' college fund. So I didn't have to do much, but the tenant paid for the mortgage, you know. So that 15-year projected profit is over $142,000 in 15 years, which is good for this price range. I mean, right under $180,000, you're going to get over $142,000 within 15 years. Can you imagine what you're just going to get in 5 years projected rate for this? and your 15-year annual ROI is over 18%. So the good thing is you're looking at, it's a good neighborhood, good location, high rental demand area, and you know, you got the good schools, all the surrounding areas are really good, so it's going to help it appreciate over the years. And it's a nice home. A lot of renters don't like real big homes, big square footage, because it's more to have to maintain. So it's good to have the smaller square footage. It doesn't make it not rent out faster because it's smaller. It's what people can afford in these good areas. So nice neighborhood. Wild Horse is a neighborhood. And this is a fourplex. So fourplexes are hard to find. They're getting harder and harder to find in San Antonio because investors just hardly sell them, you know, for good reason. If they are selling them, it's because of a situation. It could be a divorce. You know, that's what I've noticed a lot of, you know, divorce, you know, people divorcing, they have to sell all the properties that they bought together to get the cash so they can use in their divorce settlement. Or maybe partners are splitting up, or they're having to get that cash because they're ready to retire. So that was the last deal that I sold with the last fourplex. They were getting ready to retire, and they used that income that they saved over 15 years to help pay off their house that they had in California, you know, and they don't have a house payment anymore because they're retired. So there's a lot of different reasons why people are selling, you know, fourplexes. But this fourplex is located in the northeast side of San Antonio. It's Universal City. It's located really close to 2 military bases. We tend to see a lot of military tenants in this area, which is good. The list price is $450,000. I know that's crazy for like Californians thinking, what? How cheap is that? $450,000. You can get a fourplex. Yes, it's a nice fourplex, and it's located on a cul-de-sac. So it's not like all like where there's plenty of room, you know, for people to park. They get their own driveway, their own one-car garage. They have separate private fenced-in fences in the backyards. They're not very big backyards, but it's plenty of space for them to have like a barbecue pit, you know, and then a little picnic table out there so that, you know, maybe enough for a dog to enjoy, you know, out there. They don't have to share the yards. And this one, the rental rates on these, they're around $1,100, $1,200 a month for each. You know, just depending. Like sometimes the outer units, we tend to get a little more for the rent, like $50 more because of the outer units. And then the inner units are like $50 cheaper, but they still all lease out quickly. And each unit is occupied, tenant occupied already, and they're paying full rental rates, you know, market rates. Total rent is $4,340. So if you divide that by 4, you get the, you know, rental rate. And this was built in 2007. It was built in 2007, so it's not really considered that old. Total investment capital needed, $146,950. That's just to give you an idea. Like after you put your down payment of 30%, initial repair costs, closing costs, that gives you an idea of your total investment capital needed for the fourplex. So if you have that saved somewhere in IRA or whatever you can get yourself a nice fourplex for your retirement needs, for whatever reason you want, but you get good cash flow on these. These are, you're going to cash flow the most, obviously, because it's a fourplex. Another good thing about a fourplex is if one of the units is vacant, you're not hurting because you still have the other units, you know, rented out. It's very rare that we're going to have all 4 units vacant. That's extremely rare. You know, we might have 1 or 2 like in the summertime because the summer is the busiest market where people move, but we get it rented out quite quickly. That's where everybody's looking to move, you know, so we're also showing it for rent. After fixed expenses, after all your monthly fixed expenses, you're going to cash flow over $1,140 a month. Isn't that awesome? So that's good extra money to have, you know, save, and you could use that money and pay down the mortgage, you know, whatever you want. We have a lot of clients that do that. And, you know, so they'll pay down the mortgage they have, and then once it's mortgage free, you're going to get way more cash flow when you take off that mortgage payment. And that could be your retirement money, you know, to help you, you know, for retirement or for, you know, whatever you want. So this is a really good cash flow property. It's located in a really good side of San Antonio, northeast side. It's called Universal City. We have a lot of military people here. We also have a lot of industry workers, warehouse workers, Amazon. We have IKEA that just is being built out there. It's in this area. So we got a lot of employees that are also into IT. We got Rackspace. It's a big IT company in the northeast side of San Antonio. We also get a lot of, financial workers, because there's Randolph Brooks your credit union. Huge. It's right there in this area. We get a lot of bankers. So school teachers out here too. But yeah, each unit is the same floor plan. It's really nice. They have concrete stained flooring on the first floor. So the first floor, which is always going to be your high traffic areas, there's no carpet. It's concrete stained flooring, very shiny, very hard to mess up. Oh, there is carpet upstairs, but the carpet's a cheap thing to replace. And the tenants average, anywhere from 2 to 3 years for each unit. And it's 3 bedroom, 2 baths upstairs. All the bedrooms are upstairs, 2 baths. You got your master with a bathroom in the master, and then the half restroom is downstairs. As you walk in, there's a half restroom so that your guests or you won't have to go all the way upstairs to use the restroom. And it's got a nice open floor plan. It's got the kitchen with the track lighting, and it's got the bar. You can put nice bar stools, and it's real open. And the staircase looks really nice. It's very inviting, very nice. And a lot of people that don't want to live in an apartment like to live in fourplexes because it's very affordable. And it's almost the same price you're paying in an apartment. So why not get a garage? Why not get a yard? And they only have to share one, not like up, you don't have anybody above you or below you, just that one side of wall, or if you're in the middle unit, the side walls, that's it. So it's a great property. It's not going to last long in the market. We don't have many fourplexes that are this new, but it's a great property. And then here's another single family house. And this is nice. It's got the bay windows in the front. It's got the stone rock, white rock. It's got the 2-car garage. It's got landscaping. It's listed for $172,000. $172,000, built in 2008. Class A property in a Class A neighborhood. 3 beds, 2 baths. It's 1,210 square feet. If you Google this address, get the address and type it in Google, you'll see all the pictures on Zillow. It'll come up. If you put the whole address on there on Google, you'll see the actual listing pictures. It's beautiful inside. So it's very contemporary looking. It's got a nice fireplace. The cabinets in the kitchen are very contemporary. The wood floors are beautiful. It's just a nice open, even though it seems small, like the 1,210 square feet, the layout looks very spacious. And the neighborhood's awesome. It's got a neighborhood pool, got the big backyard in this house. It's got a nice sized yard. And the pergola shaded cover stain it conveys with this fall, which is beautiful because people like to have that nice covered for their patio set. Master bath has double vanity sinks. It's just overall a beautiful home. And for that price, you can't beat that price. And I could rent this out for $1,325 a month. The only thing that you may have to, do after closing is our property management team would have to paint a couple of the bedrooms, because you know how some of the bedrooms in the kids' room are like blue or pink. But that's a cheap thing. Paint is one of the cheapest, nicest things you could do. But it's $2,500 I put for initial repair costs. It could be less than that, but that's what I put to be safe and conservative. After all your fixed expenses, after you get the rent payment, after all the fixed expenses, you're getting over $300 a month cash flow. That's really very rare for a single family house for your first year. Very rare, especially at that low price, $172,000. So your first year alone, you're getting over $300 a month cash flow. Can you imagine in 5-10 years from now how much cash flow you'll have, plus the appreciation on top of that? In this good area, you will definitely get the appreciation and more cash flow each year. So overall, say if you hold on to it for 15 years, you're going to get over $153,000 in profit. ROI, the annual 15-year ROI is almost 20%. That's the highest I've seen so far. This property is not going to last long on the market, but it's a great property to show. Great area, great side of town. It's the northwest side of town. University. All right. So, Kristen, you want to take it on?
Christina. Yep, we're going to go ahead and get wrapped up here. It's 7:26, and I'm hoping to get all you people off to your families and dinner and whatever other engagements you have tonight in the next 4 minutes. So let's go ahead. We're going to do one more poll for all of y'all tonight. Let's go ahead and see the properties I liked tonight were. Your options are as follows: the single-family homes, the duplex, the fourplex. I'm interested in 5+ unit inventory, or I'd like to see additional inventory. So go ahead and take a couple seconds, think about it. What is your interest? What specifically are you looking for? You know, how much risk, how much cash do you have? All of those factors kind of come into play, and I'll give you guys all a couple more seconds. I see about half of us have voted. I think more of you can vote. Okay, I won't tell jokes. That wasn't even a joke. All right, so we'll give you guys a couple more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and close it out. Let's see how we did. Pretty even across the board. 20% single family, almost 30% on the duplex and the fourplex. Nobody here looking for commercial property. That's probably a safer bet. And 20% would like to see additional inventory. So nice split on that. Thank you guys all for voting and participating. It's always more fun when people participate. So let's move right along. So what's next? Now you're sitting on your couch in your jammies thinking, okay, I really am excited about San Antonio. Now what do I do? So you can set up a consultation with me or your advisor that you're already working with, and you can do that via email, via phone call, via the link that you see here if you are a new client to Marshall Reddick and you'd like to set up your consultation. I included a little bit a few business stats about myself so that you guys out there know who you're working with when you do set up a consultation with me. As I stated earlier, I am a Marshall Reddick investor. My husband and I own property in 4 markets where Marshall Reddick has teams. And in the 3 years that I've been here, I've helped my clients and closed 175 transactions and counting. So that's the experience that I bring to the table and the knowledge that you guys get to absorb, if you will, when you decide to work with me. Moving right along, what can you expect on that consultation? So we'll cover your own personal goals, the why of your investment strategy, how are you planning on purchasing, what are your funds available, will you finance, are you buying cash, what's your time frame, what's your property criteria. So 21% of you, we're going to be looking for single family homes. 29% are going to be looking in the multifamily space. And for 21% of you, we're looking at completely different inventory. So we'll set that criteria, we'll find the right properties, identify where those markets are. So for those of you tonight, that'll be the San Antonio market. And finally, it's connecting to your key players. So it's Christina, it's our management team, our preferred lenders, insurance agents, those of you who are looking for tax advice as we get to the end of the year. Real estate is a team sport. And so what Marshall Reddick brings to the table is all of the people that you need to win the game, if you will, to have a successful transaction from start to finish and then for the life of your investment. So here's a little snapshot of my own personal investment portfolio. As I mentioned, my husband and I own property in 4 different markets. What you don't see on this slide that needs to be updated is the duplex in Cape Coral, which closed in May of this year. But this is to demonstrate what the purpose of that consultation is. Why is it important to build a strategy? Why is it important to know what you want to accomplish and how soon you want to do that? One property is not going to make you a millionaire, but a portfolio of multiple properties and different types of properties in different markets is definitely how you're going to build that stepping stone to getting to the point where you can retire, you can start working less hours, or you can go to work because you want to and not because you have to. So you can see that there's single families, there's duplexes, purchases, sales, hard money loans, and all of this creates a portfolio that makes you a successful investor. So this is a roadmap that we will try to develop on your consultations, the multiple calls and emails that follow that as well. So once again, here is my contact information. You guys can call me directly, 949-885-5162. There's my email address as well, ctabar@marshallreddick.com. Please feel free to call or email me anytime. Don't forget to leave a message, because if you don't leave a message and I don't know who you are, I can't call you back. And Christina, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's 9:30 p.m. your time, and we really appreciate you being on the show tonight. And of course, thank you to our attendees. Without our clients, we don't have anything to do. So we really appreciate you. We appreciate your guys' time, and hope everyone has a really great night.
Have a great evening, everybody. Hope to hear from every one of y'all soon.
Thanks, Christina. Good night, everyone.
Good night.